Hey guys, I just got to take 10 minutes here really quick, and I want to make a quick video for you guys. I'm using, there's no intro because I'm using YouTube Stream real quick because this might go over 15 minutes. I hope not, but I just want to do this really quick. So yes, I'm doing another News Now Houston video because I was thinking about it, and Mexican Padilla, I really like the guy. He got charged with something recently, and the San Antonio police chief said something that kind of struck me. Instead of talking about Mexican Padilla, the San Antonio police chief says he kind of lumped us all into a bucket or all into a group that these people, those people, they are. All of these people, and I'm not just talking about San Antonio police chief. Anytime you hear somebody in law enforcement high up that wants to talk about cop watchers or filming the police, they never talk about one specific person or a couple of people in their locale. They always say these people, they are, those people, this group of people. So anything that one of us does, everybody gets lumped into that same group. Does that make sense? So when people look at News Now Houston, they're judging us by him now. Oh yeah. This runs deeper than I think a lot of you think. Some of you are like, I'm just going to sit back and wait till it plays out. Yeah, well, you do that. Me, I go out cop watching. I put my face out there all the time filming cops, recording cops, whatever you want to say it, and put it on YouTube. And all I need is one of them to go, hey, are you part of that movement, that thing with that guy in Texas, the rapist, that already my reputation will be tarnished. And you might say, oh, people don't do that. We do it to cops all the time. Cops are all the same. All cops are bad. Why? Because the cop over here is an asshole. Well, this cop that comes up and goes, hey, how's it going, guys? You pig. Whoa, what did I do? You didn't do anything, but that cop over there is an asshole. You're a cop too. So because News Now Houston is an auditor, First Amendment auditor and cop watcher, I just have to keep them accountable and transparent because my reputation is at stake as well. If News Now Houston wants to have a conversation, make a video, buddy. We'll have a conversation about it. We need dialogue. We always say that about the police. We need dialogue. So we keep the police accountable and transparent. We can't do that with one of our own. We can't do that with one of our own. Why not? We say we're about accountability and transparency, but as soon as we try to keep one of our own accountable and transparent, you're turning against them, you non-constitutional, hey, you Constitution hater. How am I a Constitution hater? I'm holding somebody accountable and transparent. I'll do the same with me. You guys have questions about me? Make a video about me. Ask me. I'll have a dialogue with you. I'll make a video in response and say, well, here's what the deal is. I showed you my certificate from Texas where I went to police academy. I showed you the course I took, powers of arrest. How transparent you want me to be? You want me to just take my clothes off? Da-da-da-da-da. No, I'm not going to do that. But how transparent do you want me to be? So this guy emailed me, asked me a couple of things, or a lot of things, but I'm going to go over a couple of things real quick. I don't have a whole lot of time. And just give you guys something to chew on here a little bit. And we need to do it because we need accountability and transparency among us just as much as amongst the cops. We're no different than them in that respect. Accountability and transparency is what we're about. So I don't know if he wants me to use his name. He said he has a few subscribers, so he's not sure he really has a voice on YouTube. So I'm kind of being the voice here and bringing up some issues. And see what you guys say. Some of you will say, I don't care. Bah, bah. Some of you will say, nobody cares. Well, nobody cares. Nobody would be talking about it. The whole friggin' community of auditors and cop watchers is talking about this. But he did mention the black powder pistol. Now, I know a felon can't own a firearm in Texas, but I believe they can carry black powder pistols. I believe that's fair game. Then he says something here. So when did he work in such confidential position as a federal agent? Now, if you go to the 51-minute interview, News Now Houston says it about 6 minutes and 40 seconds. If you go there and just watch through 7 minutes marks, the 7-minute mark, you'll hear a conversation where he says, and I'm just going to say it, try to keep it in kind of an order, not the order he says it, but he says it kind of like this, that when he was in Europe, he made some contacts in Europe, I guess when he was an MP in the Army. And because he made contacts in Europe, the U.S. Marshals Service tasked him to go down to South America and look for World War II fugitives that had fled to South America, particularly Argentina. That would be Nazis, right? Because that's what World War II fugitives, Argentina. That's the SS party, or German SS party. Fugitives that were the Berlin Nazi trials. They all went to South America. A lot of them did. So he was tasked by the U.S. Marshal Service to go hunt Nazis in South America because he had contacts in Europe from the Army, I'm assuming. And then they asked him about it. He says, well, I'm under confidential contract with Department of Homeland Security. I can't really talk about that. Okay. It's not credible to me. I was in the Army for 15 years. You say, well, only 15. I had missed, when you get promoted from sergeant to staff sergeant, E5, D6, you had to make points. And I missed the points by like 100 and something points. I missed promotion. And they said, and because I had missed the points so many times, I think 4 or 5 times I missed it, they said, okay, you can get reboarded, means I have to go back to the promotion board, or you could just take this 15 and out, like 15 years and out. And I was having some family issues. My father had died. My mother was sick. But, I was just done with the Army. I didn't want to go to another board, another promotion board. So I said, you know what? I had gone to so many Soldier of the Month boards and NCO of the Month boards. And I was just tired of boards and studying and answering questions. And so I said, I'm not doing no board. I'm not doing another board. And they said, well, you're out. So at 15 years, I took 25 grand and I stepped out. But I was in the Army for 15 years. So in the Army, I kind of gained knowledge about people who get out of the Army and go into law enforcement. A lot of the MPs, they got out, they became cops. I don't know if it was a lot, but a lot of them that went into law enforcement became cops. Some would took college while they were in and got a degree, or they would get out and finish their degree and join the U.S. Marshals Service or join the FBI. Yeah, some of them joined the FBI, the law enforcement side. But they didn't all of a sudden they were an FBI agent on some special task force. They were FBI, they were rookies and they had to work their way up. The only way you really were tasked by the U.S. Marshals Service or DEA or FBI as a specialist is if you were a Navy SEAL, a sniper, U.S. Army Ranger with special qualifications usually, Army Delta, Army U.S. Special Forces. Those are really the only ways you could really get out of the Army and then just go right into being like a specialist for something. You had special qualifications. Just being an Army MP, you're a cop. And even an MP isn't always a cop in the Army. Did you know that? MPs a lot of times were like the infantry side and security and so forth. The actual cops in the Army were called law enforcement specialists or law enforcement technicians. I forget. I think law enforcement technicians. Felipe Hemming would know a lot more about that than I would, I'm sure. But law enforcement technician was the MOS that they were actually cops. They were out there patrolling. They were writing tickets. Your MPs could also do that, but a lot of them were security and security forces and stuff like that, along with the infantry. But he said that. Well, let's look at that for a second really quick. Now, some of you say, well, yeah, okay, yeah, sure. He had a security clearance as a convicted rapist. Okay, sure. Yes. In an article on mcclatchydc.com, if you want to write that down, it's actually mcclatchydc.com. You can Google it. mcclatchydc.com. There's an article from September of 2017. and they were talking about the backlog of security clearances by the federal authorities. They were giving these interim security clearances to people because they needed government contractors. And it was a crushing backlog, they said. So they talked to Daniel E. Payne, head of the Defense Security Service at that time. And he said, this is very, very dangerous. And he says that I've got murderers who have access to classified information. I have rapists. I have pedophiles. I have people involved in child porn. This is a risk we are taking. Why? Because they weren't doing a full background check. They were giving them security clearances and making them government employees, and then going back and doing the background checks because they needed people like that quick. He said roughly 100,000 people hold interim clearances while working for companies with Defense Department contracts, or at 13,000 cleared facilities and plants around the country, and as they await a full comprehensive background investigation. So as a convicted rapist, yeah, it's possible he had a security clearance, whether it's confidential or even secret. I doubt it was top secret. But it's possible he had a confidential clearance. Confidential contract is what he said. That's possible. But he's no longer doing it. So does that mean, well, he said he still has it. He still has the confidential contract. I don't know. Doesn't sound credible to me. But this kind of backs up if he says, well, I did have a confidential clearance with the U.S. government, Department of Homeland Security. He may have. Okay. I don't know. And again, I'm just giving you guys what I'm reading. I'm putting together information based on fact of what I'm reading and what I'm seeing and using the common sense thing. A lot of you are going to call me an idiot. I don't care. I'm giving you a little bit of knowledge here. Why don't you give me some back instead of going, you're an idiot? Based on what? So let's talk about the U.S. Marshals Service. So and again, this is at 6 minutes, 40 seconds of the 51-minute interview. News Now Houston is talking about this. In Forbes magazine from 2014, there's an article, What Are the U.S. Marshals Doing in Mexico? By Nathanial Parish Flannery. And he was talking, or he was doing an article that's published in Forbes, or contributed by him to Forbes. And he was talking and referencing the Wall Street Journal claims of the U.S. Marshals participating in raids in Mexico in violation of Mexico's Constitution and contrary to statements made by the governments of both countries. Okay. The Wall Street Journal's Devlin Barrett wrote, U.S. Justice Department personnel are disguising themselves as Mexican Marines to take part in armed raids against drug suspects in Mexico. Devlin wrote that according to people familiar with the work, low battery, about 4 times a year, the U.S. Marshal Service sends a handful of specialists into Mexico who take up local uniforms and weapons to hide their role, hunting suspects, including some who aren't on a U.S. wanted list. So, is it possible that News Now Houston was one of these specialists that was sent down to South America by the U.S. Marshal Service to hunt Nazis and other felons, fugitives, I should say, not felons, fugitives? And what are specialists exactly? How is he a specialist? News Now Houston, you want to be transparent and accountable? Tell us how you were a specialist. I can't go into it because it's confidential. Really? You can't tell us anything or you have to kill us? I know if he said, okay, I was a sniper in the U.S. Army, or I was a U.S. Army Ranger with such and such qualification, or I was with Army Delta, or I was a U.S. Navy SEAL, SEAL Team 4. Then, okay, all right, kind of, okay, I see you're a specialist, but I was an Army MP. Really? That's not a specialist. So I don't know. That's where that comes from. Just let you guys know. Let's go to the next thing. But they did ask me that, when did he work as a confidential federal agent? I don't think that he ever said he was a federal agent, by the way. I think News Now Houston just said he was tasked by the U.S. Marshals Service to go down there, and that he has a confidential contract with the Department of Homeland Security. What does he do for them? And would he be filming DHS buildings and stuff if he had a confidential contract with DHS? Wouldn't that be a violation of his own policy if he's under confidential contract? I don't know. I'm just asking. Felipe would know a lot more than that. And I mean that sincerely. I learned from that guy. If you don't like him, tough. I do. He's very, very smart. He knows a lot of stuff. And I learned stuff from him. And I'm always open to say, oh, okay, here's what we found out in News Now Yucaipa. I'm fine with it. We're having a discussion. I'm not always right. So why sometimes you tell me stuff and I can go, oh, okay. Right. But I just gave you stuff here. Moving on. I have to move on. I'm out of time. But this person that emailed me, he said something else too. He said that the warrants were based on statements of 3 of his daughters. And people are saying, oh, his daughters turned against him. Come on, man. He's now Yucaipa. You're smarter than that. His daughters turned against him and all that. And well, we know at least one of them sought treatment for it, and there are medical records for the treatment. So if she turned on him, boy, she sure went all out because she went and got treatment for it. And that's in the 51-minute interview. You hear the cop go, and I'm going to pull those medical records, those treatment records. I'm just saying, it's not hearsay, guys. There's substantial evidence. There's things going on. There's medical records out there. There's police statements out there. They corroborate stuff. So when he says, Deer Park Police Department lies, it means his daughters are lying. Pretty much, that's what he's saying. It's inferred. But he said also, News Now Houston said something like, when they said, all these people have the same story. He goes, when people have the same story, someone rehearsed something. Not always. Maybe they had the same experience. They saw the same thing. They experienced the same thing. Doesn't mean they rehearsed. If a plane goes down and blows up and 27 people tell the same story, are you going to go, all right, you guys rehearsed this. What really happened to that plane? We just told you. And that's what happens with what's going on, these allegations and these accusations. They just told the police what's going on. There's one more thing I want to get to, and then I'm going to stop and let you guys chew on this. Thank you for watching. You know I'm always going to make 30-minute videos. But he says, during the history, we saw a lot of people convicted for things they never had done. Some of them ended up on death row. Some even got executed. He says, but the truly innocent of them cried out, I am innocent. I am innocent. And you know, we've heard in the 51-minute interview, if you watch it, News Now Houston does kind of say, I didn't do that. Never did that. I didn't do that. He never comes out and makes a video and says, guys, I did not do any of this. You have to believe me. I did not do it. I'm innocent. They are lying. No, we've heard this crime these cases are bogus because they didn't have jurisdiction in McAllen. We've heard the Deer Park Police Department are lying. You know, all cops are liars. This case is bogus. We've heard, believe in me. If you've ever believed in me before, believe in me now. Why? Are you innocent? Just believe in me. Okay. We've heard, don't trash talk my family, okay? Don't trash talk my daughters. I understand that part. But I don't understand saying that, not saying they're lying. I don't know why they turned against me. I don't know why they're lying. I don't know why they're falsely accused me. We haven't heard that. We've only heard, don't talk about my family, which I get that part. But I don't get why he wouldn't add, in News Now Houston, if you see this, I'm asking you, buddy, make a video and let's discuss this. I'm telling you what you need to do because you're losing people that don't believe your stories. Why don't you just come out and say, I'm innocent. I didn't do it. I'm being falsely accused. We've never heard that. And somebody that's truly innocent would do that. They would go, I didn't do it. Not believe in me. If you've ever believed in me before, believe in me now. Believe in you what? So I don't know. I just giving you guys some food for thought. A lot of you are going to get upset. I know I'm probably going to get a lot of you more that go, I'm going to unsub. Well, if you have to. But just the fact that I learned of the 1986 aggravated sexual rape, assault, which is a rape, aggravated rape, I can't support anybody for that reason anyway. So I'm not supporting him anyway. I'm not sub to him anyway just for that. But like I said at the beginning, I'm going to say right here at the end, my reputation is at stake because a lot of people are going to judge us by him and what he's saying and what he's doing. So you need to news now, Houston, Dave, you need to make a video and just tell us you're innocent and say, look, this is it. I did not do it. I'm innocent. They are falsely accusing me. You don't do a video saying that, then you're leaving a lot of people hanging. And a lot of people aren't supporting you simply because they believe you. Oh, I know. A lot of you want to act like I believe him. I do. But then your words are, well, the Constitution is innocent till proven guilty. Innocent till proven guilty. Don't you believe in the Constitution, you Kaipa? But you're not really convincing me that you believe News Now Houston. Just that innocent till proven guilty. I'm going to sit back and see how this plays out. So don't sit there and tell us you believe his story. I believe him and I support. No, you don't. Because you might say that in a quick statement and then everything else you say is Constitution, innocent till proven guilty. You don't believe his story any more than we do. You're just trying to go with the innocent until proven guilty concept, the constitutional right to trial, right to a fair trial, right to a fair hearing. I get that. No, I get it. I get all that. But I'm looking at all these other things, these facts, these evidence, these statements, these corroborating statements from the daughters, the fact one went to treatment, the prior conviction. Oh, it plays into it. Don't tell me, 40 years ago. Hey, a lot of sexual offenders have recidivism. Something to chew on. Thank you guys. News Now Ukaipa. I got to go, and I thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Again, Forbes 2014, the Nathanial Parish Flannery article, and then here mcclatchdc.com is the one about the security clearances and the felons having security clearances. Those are my references. I'm not putting them below because I'm going to work. Talk to you guys later.